Yo, what's up, everybody? This is Jose from Sun Life. Got a message for the people of Alabama. Man, I'm sorry for everything that's gone down, and it's not everybody in Alabama was like that to me, and I know I've been harsh as crap with the people in Alabama, and it's not really fair to everybody that I've been like that. I'm looking through my messages now, and I see somebody telling me they're watching from Fulton, Alabama. So, after all this time, after everything that's kind of transpired, I still got a lot of love and support from the people in Alabama. And I didn't want to leave Alabama. If it were up to me, I would still be in Alabama, man, because I had a better future in Alabama. And some people did take that away from me, but at the end of the day, I'm back home in Florida, and it's probably best that I'm here because this is where I'm from, and this is where my people are, and this is a place that we're gonna have to make work out. But it's not fair that I've been so harsh on the people of Alabama. But on the other hand, despite the fact I have been harsh on the people of Alabama, what I went through in Alabama was nasty. I ended up in a really bad place, man. I ended up on a street between drug dealer and a registered felon, another registered felon, a retired police officer with ties to the police department. Bad place, man. I ended up, and even when I lived in Alabama and people would come to my street and they'd be like, you live on this road, you know what I mean? I have people come, and if you're from Alabama, from Millbrook, I lived on High Country Road. If you're from Millbrook, just saying High Country Road, you already know what it's about. You know what I mean? The guy on this side of me was a convicted felon that did something like 8 years. The guy on this, when I first moved into Alabama, the first 3 months that I lived in my house, the guy next door had an air compressor running the whole night, boom, 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 just to get me to complain, or just to try to and the guy that lived there before me, he moved back to Florida. He lasted 3 months, so it's not like the guy before me. And I knew when I bought the house that the guy before me had got ran out, and I knew it was going to be a challenge. I just didn't think it would be that bad. I had expectations, but it was probably way, way worse in reality than. It was way worse than anything I expected. So if it were up to me, my people of Alabama, I would be there with you. I was just watching some Poppin' Clutches. I think they're something like, they just call it Poppin' Clutches. It's a YouTube channel about jacked up trucks that I like to watch, and they do a lot of videos in Alabama. And I'm watching it like, man, I feel so bad that's where I want to be, but it didn't work out. But in the future, you can't. We got a saying here that you can't hide the sun with one finger. It means that eventually, a lot of people are going to keep moving to Alabama. A lot of people are going to keep moving to Alabama from other states. And, you can't hold that back. The state of Alabama has State Law 56 HB, the most unconstitutional law. To give you an example, I'm a U.S. citizen. And as a U.S. citizen, I gotta go. The kids that come. Huh?
There was a guy that stopped in the middle of the road, and then they stopped in front of me, and then one guy started running.
It's Miami Beach. That's what happens.
Yeah.
That's it? This is what happens in Miami Beach. Did somebody bother you?
No, he was running past me.
Yeah, it's Miami Beach. It's a shame that it worked out like that, but I did end up in a very bad place. I ended up in a horrible part of Millbrook, Alabama. Not like Millbrook's anything special to begin with, but I ended up in one of the worst places you could end up in Millbrook, and I lost a lot. And even though I said I was going to let this go, it's bothered me a lot. It's bothering me too much. But it's time to grow up and move forward. Life where I'm at now is just a whole different story. I'm back home. I'm living my life, doing my YouTube. I don't have to go wake up 5 in the morning to an alarm clock. I wake up whenever I feel like it. I'm up as late as I want to. So I live good either way. It's not worth stressing over. But if you're from Alabama and you're still watching me, I appreciate you, because I know I vented a lot. And it's not like everybody in Alabama is like that. And I'll be honest, when I lived in Alabama, I wasn't like that. But sometimes there was so much pressure to be like that you had to pretend you were like that even though you weren't, you know what I mean? And that's not really a pretty thing. I think eventually Alabama, the tides are unchangeable. Every day people tell me they're moving to Alabama. When I see their names, I know what they're going to go through, some of them, you know? But eventually Alabama, they're going to have to change, because, you know, California's going to take all that stuff. They're going to take it up. California, New York, people are moving out. Even Florida. Like, I left Florida because I couldn't afford it. You ain't going to be able to run everybody out. Some people are going to stay there. The problem that I left is because I got too much to live for. I really do, man. I got my YouTube channel. I got my family, a huge family. You know what I mean? I got Katie. I got too much to live for. So I'm not going to be stuck up there going through all that when I can be here, you know what I mean, in Miami Beach and stuff like that. So at the end of the day, if you're from Alabama and you're still with me, I really appreciate you. And I ask that you kind of forgive me and understand that what I went through wasn't easy. And if you're from Millbrook, Alabama, the area, find out about High Country Road, they'll tell you all about it. I mean, I had people that would come to my house to buy stuff off me. And when they, when they come to my house, they'd be like, you know where you live, right? And I said, yeah, I know where I live. You know, they wouldn't say none, but they would be like, you know, you live next to these people and those people. And I said, yeah, I know who they are. It was kind of a lesson in life and everything that was difficult, that was painful, but it was a lesson in life that's going to make me stronger. I'm going to run with it and make the best out of it. So if you're still watching me from Alabama, I love you and I appreciate you. And I hope that you can be as forgiving towards me as I need to be towards you, because it wasn't a pretty experience, you know? It wasn't pretty. To be exact on what happened in Alabama, and a lot of you guys have been asking this, a lot happened. Enough where you could write a book or write a movie. But to summarize it, my father came to visit. We were going to build a shed together. Everything was going good. When my father came, everything took a bad turn. I have a white complexion. Katie's from Michigan. So we were able to slide underneath the radar. But when my dad came to visit, he looked Spanish. And, when we would go to the same stores we'd always go to, and everybody changed. We went to the restaurant we always went to, and it took like 3 hours to get our meal. So it was very clear that when we were with my dad, my dad came to visit us, and when my dad was there, that they were treating him and us differently because of his complexion, which is, very dark, Spanish. So I realized that my dad is everything, man. That's my man right there. That's my life, bro. And if you can't respect him, I can't respect you. So at the end of the day, we left Alabama, and because my dad said he didn't want to fly back, he wanted he wanted me to drive him back. Bro, I do whatever my dad wants, I do it. He wanted to go to Alabama, I paid a plane ticket and brought him to Alabama. My sister did. Somebody paid for it. He didn't pay for it. And then we paid for the plane ticket. That was that. He came. And when he wanted to leave, he says, I don't want to fly back. Not a problem. Whatever he does, I do it because he's my dad. And I love him. So I drove him back. When I drove him back, there's people that were casing me out to rob me. And I knew they were going to rob me. It wasn't a surprise to me. And that was their opportunity. And no matter how much I tried to prevent that from happening, it was going to happen either way. So I get back from taking my dad, I get back, and I tell the police department, I say, hey, I got robbed. I didn't call the cops because I live on High Country Road. I didn't want to see the neighbors see the cops and think I'm snitching or something, Like they already knew what was up either way, but, I play a different way. So I went to the police department, and Millbrook Police Department told me, look here, boy, you ain't from around here, are you? Maybe if you go back to Florida where you're from, you'll be safer with your people because we're not gonna waste our resources to protect the community of Alabama. We can't spend our resources to protect a Mexican because you ain't from here. And I said, look, you got detectives. I got evidence. I got video. Everybody knew I had evidence, video evidence, all that ready to go. And then the police department in Millbrook told me, we don't need to see that because we're not going to waste our resources protecting somebody who's not from here. Okay? So even though I had evidence of what happened, the police department refused to take it. They told me that they're, and I kept calling back. Now, I tried to lawyer up. I couldn't get a lawyer to go against me, to go, against Millbrook. I think the sheriff's been the same sheriff since '96. The mayor's been since the '90s, the same people. And go figure. I mean, the same people since the '90s. You know what I mean? So can't go against that. Couldn't get a lawyer to protect me. Then we put the house on the market. Long story short, my realtor knew the buyer. Now this realtor wasn't the realtor that sold the house to me, because when I called the realtor that sold the house to me, he says he would only give me $110,000, and I knew I could get more than that. So I didn't go through him because I guess he already had a buyer, and his buyer wanted to pay $110,000. So they're gonna take It was $20,000 less than what the house was appraised at. Okay. The only thing that saved me in Alabama is that the person that came to do the appraisal wasn't in conjunction with the people that did everything else. And he appraised the house for what it was worth. He appraised it for $1,000 or $2,000 less than what I wanted. It was right there. He did his job. And I can't really collaborate too much on that, but that. There was a septic company, a plumbing company out of Millbrook. My heart goes out to those people because there was somebody trying to hurt me in this plumbing company out of Millbrook, and I helped them. I didn't have to do anything for them, but I helped them. They helped me. They knew who I was as a man, and they knew my word. And because the people that bought the house, listen to this, were in conjunction with my realtor, because I brought a realtor from Wetumpka, and the realtor that I brought from Wetumpka had a buyer. The same thing my realtor that sold the house to me was trying to do. She was doing the same thing, but they weren't as slick. I'm from Florida, bro. I've seen every scam possible, especially when it comes to real estate. I mean, that's my passion. I know all types of realtors down here. I work for mostly realtors. I live down here, so you weren't gonna get me like that, bro. So this realtor from Wetumpka had a buyer. As soon as the house hit the market, she already had a contract signed, like really quick, which is kind of odd. But I left for Florida. I said, look, Katie, it's getting too hot here. We were having to carry a AR-12 just to go to the gas station because when the people that came to rob me, I knew they were from another town. But I wanted the Millbrook Police Department to take care of my case. So what I did is I didn't start crap over there in Wetumpka or wherever the crap they were from. That all happened. I was having to carry an AR-12 loaded, which is probably illegal in Alabama. I'm not sure if it's illegal. Either way, I didn't care because the cops weren't pulling me over. I was blowing red lights and doing all types of crazy stuff, and the Millbrook police wasn't even pulling me over because they kind of had an idea how everything was going down, and they didn't want to be part of it. So, the Millbrook Police Department, they didn't want any part of it. So even though there's times when I realized, okay, the cops aren't pulling me over, I'm a dead man walking. If you're in a place like that and the cops don't even pull you over, you're a dead man walking. So I was like, I got to get up out of here. So I list the house, we get an offer, back to Florida. Came back to Florida. I came back to Florida, and the realtor, the buyer, they start to break the window. I came back for the inspection, and during the inspection, the buyer started, the inspector that the buyer brought in started to smash my windows, and he broke like over $1,000 worth of stuff, man. And I was like, hey man, you got to slow it down. So he was trying to get me to, what they were trying to get me to do is they were trying to get me to, because they offered more than my asking price, but then they wanted me to give them a kickback. I wasn't going to do that because if they were acting I'm a business person. Money talks. So I needed to get out of there. So if they had made their move smart, anything was possible because, you do business like a business person. But they weren't being, a las buenas soy bueno, pero a las malas soy malo. So they didn't go at me the right way, so I wasn't going to give them a kickback. You know what I mean? So they were trying to muscle me into a kickback. So the inspector was there for 4.5 hours, almost 5 hours, until I kicked him out. And then, he broke a lot of stuff. So whatever little money I had to use it to fix the stuff that broke. So I leave and I go back to Florida. They went back, and my realtor that I hired broke my septic tank on purpose. They broke my septic tank. I told her, you can't go on the property. Don't go on my house. Don't go on the property. She went in the property, and they changed my lock. My lock box that I have, they changed it, and they put a different lock box on it. And the lock box that they put on, they hadn't given me the money for the house yet. So now they changed my lockbox on the house, but they hadn't paid me for the house. So now they took possession of my house without paying me for it, and they started to break stuff. And then they told me like something along the lines of, we'll cancel the contract. 'Cause I told them, cancel the contract. I'm not selling you the house. I called the broker, and I told the broker, look, you're not getting the house. We're backing out. You need to get the crap out of there, because I told him I'm gonna put somebody in the house as a sniper, and if somebody goes on my house, they're gonna do their dirty business because you don't have the right to be there. That was a real thing. I told him, hey, you can't be on that property, And I would have probably done it at that point because I was desperate. They were trying to take my house. Well, they went in and they broke my septic tank, and then they wanted to put on paper. That's where that septic company comes in. That septic company called, and the first time they answered the phone, it was a lady, and she was like really rude and disrespectful, probably because my last name's Spanish. But they called back again, and when they called back again, I guess my realtor, now I can't elaborate on what I did to my realtor to put pressure on her because she knew she was working for the other team, but she knew she had to make amends with me because I told her whatever I told her that was working in conjunction with them. They all turned on each other. So I was able to get all of them to turn on each other. And this is all after I already decided it was time to go. This was trying to sell the house in Alabama. And this is why I tell people, if you move to Alabama, don't buy a house in Alabama if you move there. I hope you're listening to me on that one. So anyways, okay. They called back the septic company, and the dude said, Jose on High Country Road, that's my man. We got receipts for all the work we did for him. Nothing wrong with that septic thing because I had paid them to clean it. So he called back, and he called the I don't know what they did, but they did the right thing. So the people in Millbrook, Alabama, they did the right thing, okay? They saw people trying to burn me, and they didn't put up for it. And when I moved to Alabama, them people that worked for me, they said, Jose, we don't care if you're wherever you're from. If you a man, you got word, you take care of us, we'll take care of you. So shout outs to them people, man. They kept it real. And in a place where everybody was trying to take advantage of me, that company right there, they kept their word and everything, and all that. So anyways, this realtor got scared, and she kept calling the septic company to figure out what the problem was, and she was able to figure that out because the buyer at this point was trying to break my septic tank, and I think they did damage it or whatever. They opened the lid, and then they sent me back a contract saying that I guess it must have been the broker who was doing it to the realtor. So now the realtor that I hired, she's a pawn in the middle, getting pushed and dragged around by everybody, including me. I had to muscle in a little bit too because they were my house and they're trying to take it away from me. Because I told them, you're done. You're not getting my house. After everything you've done, you're not getting my house. Well, this realtor ends up, she was just being dragged around by the broker, the buyer. I mean, there was some type of, and I did write a letter, and I sent it to the people that are in charge of FHA loans or whatever. At the end of the day, I think the broker ended up, I'm not sure if the broker fired her or not. And I'm not mentioning nobody's names on this video. I'm just giving you guys a general thing of what happened. Okay. I'm back in Florida. They're destroying my house in Alabama on purpose. And they sent me back a contract saying, okay, you know, we'll back out of the contract, but you have to sign saying that you understand that the septic tank is broken, and any future buyer will see that and know that there's a septic problem, and a bank won't finance it if the septic is bad. So they were trying to put me in a corner where, okay, here's your house back, but now you can't sell it. You see how dirty these people in Alabama are, bro? They say, here's your house back, but if we don't buy it, then in the contract, you won't be able to sell it because now a bank won't finance the house. I said, I don't care. You're not getting my house. I was serious. You ain't getting my house. I told him I can burn and get twice whatever because it was insured. And I had already got threats. The first thing I moved into the house, there's more to the story, but I mean, when I first moved in the house, certain people told me, oh, they're going to burn the house down. I said, do me the favor, please. It's insured for twice what I paid for it. And I showed them the paperwork too, because I knew they were going to do that. Because the first thing they do is tell you, hey, you know, you're not really from here, are you? Well, we're going to burn your house down or whatever. There's 2 cars pulled up. So, really scary spot to do any type of video at. Give me a second now. Another time to go, guys. Let's get out of here. We gotta go. It's definitely time to go.
Yeah. I got Opal lock on.
Cool. We gotta get up out of here.
Yeah. I don't think.
I'm gonna put the GoPro in the front. Well, anyways, guys, that's part of what happened up there. At the end of the day, one day I woke up and the money was in the bank.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they didn't call us or tell us anything. It's just the money was in the bank, and